heads straight to College Green to hear from Reform UK. Christopher Hope has a guest with him.
That's right, Tom, Gloria. I'm with Richard Tice, who speaks on the economy for Reform UK. What's your reaction, Richard Tice?
Delusional. This spring statement is based on delusional forecasts from the OBR. Of course, the Chancellor's not an economist. She has no views of her own. So she's totally reliant on these OBR forecasts. Let's just remember that they've halved their growth forecast. We'll end up being way lower than that this year. Already the economy is shrinking in January. Already the government is borrowing £20 billion more than the OBR forecast just 4 months ago. And all of a sudden, after this year, the OBR suddenly found, in every year thereafter, an extra 40 or 50 basis points of growth, when the Chancellor's saying world events means growth's going down. You can't have it both ways. Something doesn't add up. I think the people at the OBR, frankly, have been eating they've been eating magic mushrooms or something, because this is delusional. It doesn't add up. We are heading towards a financial disaster carrying on like this.
They're planning, of course, on 0.4% of GDP growth from the planning reforms. Why not give her a break? It has been difficult the past few months. Ukraine, more defence spending required. Not easy, not much growth, but then all G7 countries aren't growing by a lot.
You know what? It really is quite easy. Scrap net stupid zero, save tens and tens and tens of billions of pounds by that, stop paying voluntary interest on all the printed money, save tens of billions of pounds doing that, and cut a huge amount of wasteful spending. This stuff actually is not that difficult. If you then cut daft regulations, whereas this government is imposing more regulations, that's how you create an incentive to take risk for people to invest in the private sector. That's how you make work pay. That's the difference. We know what to do because we've been round the block. We're successful business people. This Chancellor, she told us she's an economist. She's not.
You must welcome, surely, the benefit cuts, 4.8 billion. You would go further?
Look, the reality is, yes, I mean, the welfare reforms will never happen. It's been kicked into the long grass. That you will never see any of this, because the last thing they want to do is bring any of these changes to a vote, because Labour MPs would not stomach it. They were very, very quiet in this spring statement. So look, all of these numbers, completely delusional. And I'm afraid we are in for a difficult time. We're in for a shock. We cannot keep spending more than we're earning, and that's what this government is doing.
Is the A word about to rear its head again? Austerity, is that where we're heading?
It's the R word, recession. We are heading towards a difficult, long, painful recession unless there is a change of course in the private sector. That's where we already are. People are laying off jobs. People are not hiring people, particularly in retail, hospitality, and in manufacturing and industry. It's a disaster zone.
But the APR forecasts less than 2% growth for the next 4 years.
But unbelievably, they've somehow magicked an increase in growth, because they were saying it was going to be 1.5% growth from next year onwards. Now, all of a sudden, it's 1.9, 1.8. Where have they found that from in a supposedly more challenging world? Something doesn't add up. And I tell you what, the OBR is going to be found out for being woeful at forecasting. But now they're literally running the government, because the Chancellor is totally reliant on their blessing, and their forecasts are a disaster.
Why hasn't the OBR apparently forecast the Employment Rights Bill, which is the measures being brought in on companies, immediate rights for those being employed?
You better ask the boss of the OBR, and because the consequences of that Employment Rights Bill will be disastrous. I'm speaking to employers who are not hiring people, they're letting people go, they're reducing hours. Look, it's all a disaster. We're heading into a difficult, bad economic place, and I'm very sad about it.
But the world is uncertain. There's problem. The defence budget's going up. It has to, because of Donald Trump's withdrawal of support.
I'm not buying any of it. Can I just remind people, the economy shrank in January before President Trump took over, before any mention of tariffs. So all of that is garbage, gibberish.
So you draw a direct line back to that budget in last October.
All a consequence of the blunder budget, and she should scrap it and start again. She obviously won't, and I'm afraid it's the ordinary British working people who are paying the price of that.
Richard Tice, thank you. Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader on Reform UK, the spokesman on the economy. We'll be hearing from other parties through the day here on College Green.
Okay, we've got about it. Thank you so much, Chris. We'll talk to you shortly. Now, before we have to take a short break, just want to ask you guys, Conservative Representative Mims and Labour's Representative Catherine Atkinson, when you see Richard Tice there, who is outperforming both of your parties in some of those polls. How scared are you? You've got about 20 seconds to tell me.
Not at all. He's
Really?
you know,
No
he's a
problem for
busy
you?
politician grabbing the airtime. That's what we all have to do. You know, there's only one poll that matters at the GE, and we've a long way to go for one of them.
The idea that he wants us to still be reliant on foreign oil and gas, the only person that benefits from that, Vladimir Putin.
You're not scared at all then, Catherine? Labour not worried about reform?
We've got wages going up, we've got pension going up, we've got public spending going up. We are moving in the right direction, and that is what we need to show delivery.
Well, we're going to have a lot more to dive into over the course of this programme.